I'm Esteban.
And I'm Sarah, and we are here today with Jennifer Crank, newly minted 2017 16-inch Cynosport Steeplechase champion. Congratulations.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And today, as we're recording, it's actually Halloween.
Spooky,
So happy
spooky.
Halloween.
And that's a big deal for us because we've got kids. I know Jennifer has a kid.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about what Ethan's doing for Halloween this year.
So this is his first year where he kind of is understanding what's happening. Like the first year when he's a year, we didn't even go out. We just dressed him up for the photo op. And last year, we just went around a few houses just enough to be in a costume. He wouldn't even say Halloween. But this year, for the whole month, it's what do you want to be? What do you want to be? And I hear these horror stories where the day before you go out, the kid wants to be something different. That's us. So the whole month, Ethan has wanted to be Ryder, who is from Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol is these 6 dogs, and Ryder is kind of their trainer, which is funny that that's what he's into. So I get him this custom-made vest, the colors, the paw print, everything. It shows up in the mail, and I show it to him. He goes, I don't want to be Ryder. I want to be Marshall, which is the firefighter dog. So we didn't have that costume, so we've compromised, and he's going as Ryder, but he's carrying his stuffed Marshall doll, his little dog, his Dalmatian dog, with him to kind of maybe hope that he'll be okay with that. We'll see. We're headed out here in a little bit, so hopefully all will work out well.
I think when he gets that first big fistful of candy, then he'll realize that the costume, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. He'll be okay with it.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's some strong negotiation skills right there. And then on our side, we've got Hannah. She's 7, and she is going to be Mal, the daughter of Maleficent. For those of you who watch a whole lot of Disney Channel, that would be the daughter of one of the bad kids. And they made this movie Descendants and Descendants 2. So yeah,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And the boy who just turned 13, birthday was this past weekend. You know, I mistakenly entered a dog show, forgetting that it was my own son's birthday, and we had a party for him. But he's going to be Deadpool.
That's right.
Deadpool.
Good. Yeah.
Good.
Deadpool. So anyway, we're gonna make this short, but totally awesome because we all are going trick-or-treating with our kids. So first thing on the slate is congratulations for being so amazingly awesome at this past weekend's Cynosport event.
Thank you.
And,
it was awesome.
When I think of Cynosport, I think of Grand Prix, Steeplechase, the Dam Team events where you kind of partner with other people and you run a bunch of different things. And now they have the biathlon, right? And so 4 different things. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're top 3 in everything. Is that right? With at least 1 dog.
Yes. I had to think about that, but yes, I was. And this
so that's like basically the perfect weekend.
Yeah, and this steeplechase win finished off me having won everything in the past. So I have now officially 1 Grand Prix, 1 biathlon, 1 steeplechase, and 1 team. So it's pretty cool.
Well, that's awesome.
So there's nothing that she has not won at this event. That's amazing. That's amazing. For those of you who haven't seen it, on our Facebook page and our website, baddogagility.com, I do have a breakdown of the steeplechase course and a closer look at Jennifer's run, which was amazing. And Jennifer talked with me a little bit about that, so we put that conversation into the article for you. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check that out. But Jennifer, we wanted to ask you, because you were great at everything. Everything was so easy for you, apparently. What was your favorite course?
Oh, gosh. So I felt really good about my biathlon jumpers run, which actually I did have a bar. Swift did have a knocked bar. But I felt really good about the course because it was a tough one. It was a really tough one. A lot of dogs having trouble. There was a line to a backside that people were really struggling to get. And I went for it. I said, I'm going to do this blind, trust him, and make it happen. And he did. He got through that section, hit a bar down the road. I don't know if that was my favorite course, but it was definitely a tricky course that I was very, very proud to get through. I also liked the Team Gamblers run. That was the course that I took first in the 16-inch class with Lucky, so that was obviously very fun. But there was quite a variety in the courses. I think just having so many, there were 5 different judges, having different judges design different courses. There was quite a bit of variety in things. It was interesting because the Steeplechase finals course and the Grand Prix finals course both had a very similar line across the back that had just a lot to do with handler speed. Just you had to run. And it was set up in the same place on the course. It was just very interesting. It was like, hey, I just ran this part last night. Really, really similar to it. But yeah, the biathlon jumpers was maybe the one I was most proud to sort of semi-survive.
Right. And that's so interesting. I think it says a lot about Jennifer as a person and a competitor. I think a lot of people are going to say, well, of course, it's going to be my steeplechase win, my win over here, this run over here where I crushed everyone and everything went perfect. But, having that tough run where you have a bar down or something like that, being proud of that run, I think that's something that a lot of beginners, especially watching this, new to the sport, can really latch onto. I think, Jennifer, you're a great role model here for that sort of thing. So That's awesome.
Yeah, we had a few
It's
bubbles
great
there.
to look up to people who are winning everything.
That's nice too.
Right.
Hey, winning's good. Winning's nice too. So related to this large variety of courses, I did have a chance to take a look at the courses. And everybody's going to have opinions about courses from any event. Some people are going to like them, some people aren't going to like them. Some people were there and they liked them or didn't like them. Some people weren't there and have very strong opinions, even though they weren't there. They didn't run the dog on those courses. You were there. You ran those dogs. But the thing I want to ask you about those courses are, you've also been to USDA over the years, many, many times. You mentioned now you won everything in USDA. When you look at the last, say, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in USDA course design, where's the overall trend been going, especially with respect, I think, to steeplechase and Grand Prix? Let's set Dam Team aside for now and say steeplechase, Grand Prix, and kind of the addition of biathlon. But what are you thinking about course design? Like, how has it changed, if at all?
So one of the things that I found interesting this year, and I don't know if it relates directly to the question about over the years, but it always seems that the quarterfinals, which are on Wednesday, always seem to be harder than the semifinals or finals almost every year. And maybe that's just like a stereotype that I have stuck in my head, but I look at the courses Wednesday and I'm like, man, I really am glad I'm not in quarterfinals, or I'm wishing I wasn't in quarterfinals, depending on the year. This year I was not in quarterfinals and I was quite happy about that. This year, the quarterfinals for steeplechase wasn't bad. It was what I would consider kind of a normal steeplechase course, but the steeplechase semifinals was definitely what I would consider harder than normal. Of all the local shows that I've gone to, I went to 3 USDA regionals this past year, ran in quarters, ran in finals. The semifinals course was definitely harder than most of anything that we've run. So it weeded out a lot of the dogs. If you actually just looking at the 16-inch class, a lot of the dogs who were in finals for Grand Prix, you did not see running finals in steeplechase because the course was wicked hard and they had some faults, which I find interesting just because steeplechase is, I think, the original intent to be speed. It's fast. It's just either 2 A-frames or 2 weaves, no teeter, no dog walk. It's designed to be flowing and fast. And if you looked at the finals course that we posted, you'll see it's a lot of long straight lines. So it was interesting to see such a difficult semi-finals course. As far as Grand Prix goes, I think Grand Prix has stayed very consistent over the years. I can remember running it for many, many years, being in finals, Clever winning a couple years back, running it last year, and even this year I ran it with Pink. And they all seem to be very fair. They're not unreasonable, and I think there's been a lot of consistency in the Grand Prix courses for sure. And I do think one of the things that maybe has happened is with the addition of the biathlon classes, you've seen them take some of those international challenges, if that's the right word, and put them there. So we haven't seen backsides in Grand Prix. We haven't seen some of the, really crazy weave pull stuff in Grand Prix because they're saving that in biathlon. I'm not 100% sure what the rules are with regard to if they can even have backsides in Grand Prix, but the courses seem very fair and they're good for crowd appeal. I thought this year's course was really good, keeping excitement for those watching, for the, dog walk, jump, teeter, kind of the back-to-back contacts and the long line around the back.
Now that's super interesting because there biathlon's functioning almost like a safety valve, like a release. Like, as the courses are getting harder, steeplechase is getting harder. You can make Grand Prix harder, but okay, hold on. We don't need to keep making it hard to like infinity because we've got the biathlon over here. This is where we're going to throw in all our crazy stuff. I wonder if we're starting to see some of that even a little bit in the AKC. Now you have the premier courses. It's almost like the judge having permission to really put a cap on how difficult the master's level course can be.
Yes.
Right? You don't need to make it super tough. You don't want people complaining, oh, hey, this is just as tough as the premier.
Well,
you want there to be a clear gap between the two.
And not only that, it's usually going to be nested. So you want to keep the courses different, but on the same layout, right?
Oh, that's a great point.
Do a lot of, that's going to influence the design.
Right,
as well.
that's a great point. That's a great point. You mentioned that there was a similar backline in Grand Prix and Steeplechase, but the two finals were run on different days. Is that right?
Yes.
Different judges?
Yes.
Yeah. So just coincidence.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. The other thing I wanted to ask you about is I'm not 100% sure when the new jump height rules went into effect for USDA. Was that for this event this year, or is this like the second year this happened? I'm not quite sure.
A good question.
Okay, so we are not quite sure here. With this very small sample.
Actually, I do. Okay, this is the first year because 10 inches. This was the first year Clever did 10 inches.
Oh, that's right, because I remember seeing the 10 inches and thinking, is that a typo? That's really odd. I just wasn't used to it. I haven't been doing
and last year I did, Clever did 12 inches and I did 18 inches with Presto. And this year there's no 18, but they have 10. So this was the first year with the new jump heights.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so how did you feel like the jump heights affected the trial? Because obviously now you have a population of dogs and they're going to be partitioned a little bit differently. I think overall there's more height classes, right? And so how do you feel like it affected the flow and like how did things go?
It was interesting. We were talking about it today. One of our classes went out to lunch to celebrate. They all did so well. We were discussing it. And I noticed that there were several dogs who previously were in the P8 division, so the performance 8-inch division, because 12 was too big, that did give 10 inches a try. The smaller, Papillons or Corgis, they go, oh, I'm not going to do 12. But when the 10 introduced, they said, okay, let's give that a try. So you did see more. I thought there was maybe more dogs in the 10-inch class and a more greater variety of breeds. It'll be interesting to see how many of them stay there. I did see a couple of them comment. I talked to a few of them who said they'll go back to P8. And part of it was the A-frame. At P8, you have the lower A-frame than the 10 inches. So the 10-inch class was definitely bigger. And this was also the first year they added the 20-inch class. So in the past, the 22-inch class has been huge. I'm talking huge. Hundreds and hundreds of dogs. And this year they split out and they had the 20-inch class, which was, I was in the 20-inch class with Pink, which was quite nice to just, split the dogs a little bit on size and have just an extra division. So what was interesting that I found is I noticed that there were some dogs who measured to do 20 inches, but they still chose to do 22. And I couldn't quite figure out, what the purpose was. I didn't talk to any of them to know, but there were still a larger number of 22-inch dogs than there were 20-inch dogs. And maybe it was just because that's what they had done in the past, or that's what they were doing for various other events. But it did help to divide the dogs out and spread them across an extra jump height. I did not see the 14-inch or 16-inch class seem all that adjusted. A lot of the dogs that were previously doing 18 are still doing 16, and the dogs that were doing 12 are now doing 14. Those two heights, along with the 24, didn't seem to be too adjusted from what they had been in the past.
Okay.
Very interesting. Well, I've got one more question for you, and it's that I believe the surface was run on dirt this year.
Yes.
And when people say Cynosport, I usually think of grass, right? And I know
outdoors,
that there's been outdoors, right?
There's
usually been kind of a mix of the two and some recent dirt shows. So how do you feel about that as far as like footing and just the event overall in general? Do you have a strong preference, or do you feel like it really affects the trial, or it's good either way?
So one of the big things that I think has always made Cynosports is the finals under the lights, in the evening, in the bleachers. And so for so many years when they held it outside, even last year in Arizona, your finals may be around 6:30 p.m. It gets dark, the lights come on, they shine them on the ring, people incense. It's very, very exciting. It's under the lights. It's like evening football games. Everybody gets extra excited.
Right.
And it's really fun. The cheering's there, and everybody, goes to dinner and comes back for it. And there's just something less exciting about doing it indoors. You're indoors all day. You're in the same arena. It doesn't change. You still have the stadium seating. It's just not as close because it's pushed back away from the arena walls, where when they do it outside at Scottsdale, they bring the bleachers right around the ring, because the finals ring is by itself. Where at this past weekend, they had 3 rings in a long row. So for the finals ring, there really was only one of the 4 sides that you could sit and watch from. The other 2 sides were the rings, and the back side was where the podium was. So you don't have that surrounded by the crowd feeling, and it's not quite as exciting. So I do have to say I'm a little bit more of a fan of the outside, just in terms of the excitement and the atmosphere. However, it is nice that you're not dealing with the elements. It doesn't matter if it rains, it doesn't matter if it's windy.
Sure.
You don't have to deal with that. As far as the dirt surface, it wasn't horrible, but it got very, very slick. There were several times by the afternoon and the evening that I also almost wiped out on a run. And actually on the steeplechase run, when I was discussing it with my friend Abby, we were both worried when we planted at the wall jump to kind of plant and pivot and run back the other one. We were just going to wipe out because the dirt was so packed and got so soft. It got packed and got hard, and then it was like a little, layer of like grit or sand on top, and you just felt like you were ice skating. It didn't help that I went with the mentality of, it's on dirt, I'll take old dirty shoes. They did not have the best traction. Bad idea. Lesson learned. Take good shoes with good grip next time.
Right.
So the surface was a little slick in the afternoons and in the evenings, which was unfortunate. And the environment wasn't quite as exciting. So I'm looking forward to going back to Arizona next year.
Yeah, those are good points. I did notice when I was watching your run, I watched most of the steeplechase runs from across all the heights, and I did notice from the other camera angle, when you see the stands, they're completely empty. I didn't realize that they were blocked off. And you kind of only have it kind of on the start line side. You see people up in the stands there. Definitely noticed the dirt as well, a little bit for the dogs and a little bit for the handlers. And I did, when I was watching your run, I was thinking as you made that hard plant to slow down and change directions at the bite at the wall.
Right.
I was like, wow, that was a really athletic move. Because in slow motion, you see it really well. Jen is coming in full speed. She's throwing on the brakes, all of that weight on her feet.
Oh, that weight, what?
No,
I felt very slow when I watched it back.
100% of her weight is on that one
That's
foot.
Right.
In that instant.
I was so worried I was going to fall there. So worried.
Yeah.
I was very cautious when I turned and ran the other way. So
yeah, definitely an athletic move, but a very good one, because I felt like you got a much better turn than a lot of people did in that spot. And maybe because they couldn't make a sharp a cut, so maybe the dog goes a little bit wide there or something like that. All right, well, we all need to get to the trick-or-treating, but before we go, I want to mention that now is your chance to join us, and by us, I mean Sarah, myself, and Jennifer Crank. We've got an online course. Sign up is available until
Monday the 6th.
Monday. It's the AKC Invitational Prep, but really it's more than just prepping for the invitational event. People who have taken the course in the past, of course, know its value, but it's also a great thing to do for people who aren't going to the event, people who just want to get better at agility. You want to have better results at your weekend trials. You want to go out there and be a beast on the course, just like Jennifer.
That's right.
I'm very excited.
Everything.
Win all the things.
That's right. And so this course is your chance to actually train with us, do some sequences, get personal feedback from all 3 of us. And I think you'll find that very, very helpful. It's that thing where if you're training by yourself, maybe you don't see everything that's going on, but you bring in someone else's critical eye and someone with some experience, and they'll see something that you can improve on and get better.
That's right. And you can get to that by going to baddogagility.com/prep, P-R-E-P, and that'll take you right to the page with all the information.
But we are super excited
to have Jen.
Yes.
And so make sure that you guys check it out. And thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining us on this Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we will let you go. Get to the trick-or-treating.
That's right.
And steal all the best candies from Ethan, because I know you're going to do it.
That's right. You got to check it all anyway. Just pick out a few pieces for yourself.